Okay, so Kpop Demon Hunters was kind of the most important animated film that came out in the past year or so. It has quite a bit of an implications on the genre and just generally in blockbuster filmmaking because it is catering to a very niche audience. Like in blockbuster filmmaking, K-pop and like fandoms are kind of the most niche you can get because like blockbusters do not really deal well with niche things because their sole purpose is to cater to as many people as possible. I am a screenplay writer, if I haven't said that, but I am. And I'm going to look at this film from a screenplay writer's standpoint. And also I will give credit where it is due and in the end, conclusions, of course. So, first issue is the extremely long exposure. The entire first 20 minutes or so is basically exposure, and it is using the most egregious version of exposition, namely flashbacks with narration. So it is not very good. I get that the genre allows it because blockbuster writers are just kind of lazy, and also their target audience needs to be able to take in the thing easily. That is the point of a blockbuster movie, basically. It is not good. It is just plain not good. And the movie doesn't really start till the 20 minutes mark, where we figure out that Rumi has the marks, meaning that she is part demon. And this is a good place where I can introduce you to a concept of writing. Namely, when you make a story, you need to be able to answer fairly easily why the story starts now and why it ends now. The ending is pretty self-explanatory. The hormone gets fixed and everything is good and everybody is happy and the world is at peace or something similar. But the beginning of it is very problematic because it has been going on for a while. And it is not like Huntrix are a new thing either. And the point where you figure out that the hormone is about to get fixed is later on. Like it is in or after the first 20 minutes of long exposure. Because the film really begins not when we get introduced to the characters, not when we learn how the world works or not what the core situation is. The film starts when basically the first issues are starting to show, or when we learn that Rumi has the marks and the marks are spreading and causing her issues with her voice. That is when the film really begins, and that is like somewhere around 20-25-ish minutes of playtime, which is quite a lot, considering that the film is 1.5 hours long with credits. The second issue is the mega cringe humor. Now, humor itself is subjective, and it is definitely not my type of film and not my type of humor. It is just not my style. However, how the humor itself is used as a tool of narrative is a bit more problematic, because the film opens with actually that scene where they are basically not taking seriously the demons and they are joking about and burping around and all kinds of weird shit that is deeply unfunny. Most of the humor is used like this, either just mega cringing around because reasons, and the second option is to basically spit in the face of the demons and to not take them seriously. Why is this problematic? If you introduce villains into your story, generally the protagonist either need to take them seriously and acknowledge them as a problem, a force to be reckoned with, or not do that and underestimate them, and then this underestimation coming to bite them back in the ass later on. That is the other, like these are the two main options that you have in blockbuster filmmaking. That is important. And this is problematic because it is kind of in the fence, because they are just joking around and doing weird shit, kind of like they do in Marvel movies, which is also not good. And then this does not come biting back them in the ass. These jokes and these things do not have consequences. They are only there for comedic purposes, which is, in this situation specifically, not a very good purpose. The issue that this creates is that neither the viewer nor the characters in universe take the demons seriously, even though they are causing problems. And it is just not a good vibe. It is the vibe of the movie is more similar to a magical girl anime, which is like usually kind of whimsical, but usually kind of dark. Like dark in the things that are happening, but the tone of it is kind of whimsical. That is usually how magical girl animes work. And this is very similar to that. However, the general tone of the movie is for the most part pretty good. However, when they are joking around and making mega cringe things, it just fucking kicks you out of the story, and it is not very good. The other issue, or like not issue, it is more like a nitpick. People bring it up a lot that they use Korean mythology and like mythological things and historical clothes, shit like that. I just don't care. To be honest. They are not important, but for some reason people bring it up a lot. They are not important. They are not foreshadowing anything. They are not doing anything for the story or the narrative at all. And on a pretty similar note, the general symbolisms or like references, they are not very complex either. They don't go deep into anything. They have like a vague mentioning of like how Korean culture deals with shame and like work ethics and shit, which are not that much. They just don't. That is the solution to that. And these are a tiniest bit in it, but it doesn't give any complexity to the movie. And how it is done, it is usually very on the nose, very in your face, because the average consumer is dumb. Therefore, you have to shove it in their fucking faces for them to see what they need to see. It is not a very elegant way of writing, and it is not doing any favors to the movie either. But I want to get to the most important talking point and the thing that bothered me the most about this movie. It is specifically the subversion of expectations. As Rumi is getting closer to Jinu, it seems like that the issue is not as simple as the magical girls first thought. It is a bit more complicated than that, because demons, as it seems like, they suffer all the time. All they can think about is what they did wrong and their shame and just generally their past demons or something like that. And also with Jinu, it turns out that they do not even like or worship their demon overlord. They were tricked and they were cheated and they were just basically coerced into being a demon. That is how it slowly seems like, and it kind of puts tension between the girls, because the other two Huntress girls are kind of assholes, and Rumi, as part demon and who is getting to know Jinu more and getting to see the complexities in him and just generally in the whole issue, is taking issues with this, as she should. But the subversion of expectations is, and get this, it is basically that hey, look at this issue. This issue seems to have more complexities than it seems at first glance. No, it has no complexities. It has the exact same amount of complexities as it seems in the first place. Demons are bad, demons are evil, and they deserve to be where they are because they fucked up royally. And that is a bad thing. We went from having some amount of complexity to having zero amount of complexity. Subversion of expectations work if from what you are subverting from is less complex to what you are subverting to, because then there is a surprise that, oh, maybe all this is not as simple as it first seemed, and there is a growth. There is something that happens if you go from, oh, demons have zero complexity, they are just evil. Oh no, they are just people who royally mess up. Oh no, they are just evil people. It is not. it is not a very good arc to be going through. And I don't think the story of this movie is very fucking good. It is compelling and it does certain things right. For example, the main reason why I think it got so popular so fucking fast is because the animation and the music is very good. As you can see from my AC/DC poster, I am not very much into K-pop music or any type of pop music in general. However, the music is good. It is good quality music. And the music segments are generally very good. Both animation-wise and both music-wise, and also from a writer standpoint. Because putting musical segments into normal-ass movies is hard, because it is not how normally a narrative-based thing flows. You cannot just put an insert in it and then just move along with your story, especially if in that insert important things happen. Musical films designed for cinema suffer greatly from this because the musical inserts have to do something, and it is unclear whether it is canon. What do I mean by this? It is unclear whether it actually happens in the universe, whether it is just a thing that exists and it is a completely separate entity from the movie, or is it a dream sequence? Is it just in one or more characters' heads? What is it even doing? In this case, it is very clear because music is the tool with which they kill demons, like with swords too and shit. But generally, how they do things, music is a thing in the universe. In, for example, High School Musical or something shitty like that, why do the people just start dancing and singing in the middle of a random ass school day? Is it because somebody is imagining it? Is it because it is just a thing? Is it because it is a musical? That is a bad reason to do things. In this case, it is more productive to think about the movie in its entirety as a long-winded music video, because this way the story bits are becoming the lesser important things. They are basically just things that lead from music sequence to music sequence, which is a much better way of thinking about it, and it makes me less angry, so it is definitely a good thing for me, at least. But what the best thing about this movie is what I said in the intro. It caters to a very specific audience. So, animation is fucking expensive. That is why, if a studio decides to make an animated movie, they try to get back as many monies as physically possible. So what they do, they cast as wide of an audience net as physically possible, because this way they can get back as much money as they can. However, what the problem with this one is that you will get Pixar movies that are basically the same. Every Pixar movie ever made is basically the same. Oh, look at this thing. What if it had emotions? And what if it had a bean mouth? Pixar movies, in a nutshell, basically. Most of them are pretty mediocre. And that is the issue with them. If you are trying to cast as wide net as you possibly can, the best you can do is mediocre, which is, in my opinion, the worst fucking thing. Either be like Illumination and be as scummy, as shitty, and make the worst quality product just for the sake of selling as much merchandise as possible and making brain rot movies, option A. Because I can respect that. I can respect that you do not care about artistic integrity. You do not care about the art. You do not care about the quality of product you are putting out. You just want money. And I can, to a certain extent, respect that if you are like very clear about that one. And that is the issue with them, if you are in the middle. And Kpop Demon Hunters is not in the middle. It is catering to a very specific audience, a very specific type of people with a very specific music taste, with a very specific story taste, with a very specific animation type of taste. And it works. And I am so happy that it does. Even though I do not like this movie, and I do not think that it is written very well, and I don't think the story is very good, or the characters are well fleshed out, or the concepts touched upon are very well explained, or like flushed out, or like talked about, or I don't know. However, I am very happy that it exists, and I am very happy that it does as well as it does, because what this means that animation studios will see that you can make movies for specific people in very high technical quality, and people will watch it if it is a good product made specifically for their specific needs and wants. And that is huge, because the last time this happened was sort of with Spider-Verse. I say sort of because Spider-Man is just basically the most universally liked superhero character ever. But this one is not the same type of movie as Spider-Verse is. This is a very specific type of movie for a very specific type of person, and that is a good thing. And I am happy that it does this well, even though I don't like it. So yeah, I think that was all. Bye. This is dumb. Outros are dumb. Why do people do them?